Okay, go ahead.
Adequate notice.
Or Michael? Michael, the right.
Adequate notice. No.
No.
Nope, none of them on. Okay. Is it on now?
Yes,
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Lawrence Township Council being held on Tuesday, February 18, 2025, has been provided through the posting of the annual meeting schedule of said council in accordance with Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Said notice was forwarded to the Trentonian, the Times, and the Princeton Packet on December 19, 2024. My quote in honor of Black History Month, of which we're still celebrating. Just wanted to give a quote, one of my favorite persons of all time, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This is a quote and a subject that he wasn't necessarily always known for, but it's very important and very pertinent to today's society, where he spoke about economics. And he said, fair wages, decent housing, and economic opportunity. These are what Dr. Martin Luther King believed had economic equality as the critical to achieving genuine equality. He advocated for fair wages, decent housing, and economic opportunity. In his own words, he said, "We can't solve our problems unless there is a radical redistribution of economic and political power." If we can have the pledge of allegiance now.
You want the inspiration first?
Oh, yes.
Okay. May we carry out our work at this meeting in a just, honorable, and sincere manner, always bearing in mind our duties and continue to keep Lawrence a wonderful community in which to live. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you could have the roll call, please.
Mr. Bobbitt.
Here.
Mr. Kaneki.
Here.
Ms. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
Mayor Farmer.
Here. Okay, this evening we're going to have special presentations, starting with special 2025 Department Head Budget presentations, beginning with Chief of Police, Kevin Redding Jr.
Good evening, Town Council, Mayor, Manager Nowinski, Mr. Sypek, Madam Clerk. Good to see everyone. Appreciate the opportunity tonight. First, I'd like to introduce the Lawrence Township Police Command staff. We have Captain Joseph Fleck, Lieutenant Mike Whitmore, Lieutenant Sean Sexton, Lieutenant Dan Gladney, and Lieutenant R.J. Laird. I've given everybody the 2024 year-end report. It's a 54-page document, pretty much detailing all of 2024. Just review it at your leisure in the future. Reach out if you have any questions at all. And absolutely, I know there's a ton of information in there. I know on the front it says prepared by Kevin Redding, but these guys did pretty much 99% of the work. So let me get into the presentation. So I'm going to focus on areas that I feel that we can improve throughout 2025 and pretty much moving forward, obviously. A few things from 2024, but that's kind of just to roll into 2025. Currently, the staffing level of the police department in 2024 is 60 full-time sworn police officers, 1 full-time special law enforcement officer, 1 code enforcement as well, 5 full-time SLEO 3s, they're retired officers in our schools, 2 full-time records clerks, 1 full-time confidential assistant to the chief of police, 2 part-time records clerks, and 1 part-time property and evidence clerk who does all our digital media. Some 2024 highlights. We've had a very good timely replacement of retired officers. The reputation of Lawrence Police has drastically improved in the county. We've participated in some county initiatives, the tactical response team. We have an officer that helps out, the homicide task force. We have a detective who helped out, the computer crimes unit for the county. We also have a detective that helps them, and then Mercer County Rapid Response Team, where we have Lieutenant RJ Laird, who is one of the main coordinators of the unit. We've improved our traffic communication. This was all done through prior Chief Longo. He created a traffic email where we receive a lot of information regarding traffic complaints or information inside the township. Increased social media presence, 6,092 followers as of the other day. The Officer Spotlight, which has been extremely popular. To give a real quick, it's not on here, a real quick example, Kanan Smith, his Officer Spotlight the other day. I know it had a lot of activity, 1,000 likes, but looking at the algorithm, there was close to 130,000 people who actually viewed the Spotlight. So the activity on our social media account has been pretty amazing. Safety messages, community events, and increased leadership training for the command staff. These are just some of the community events that we've participated in. National Night Out is a big one, Egg Hunt's a big one, Trunk or Treat's a big one, and a few of the others. Citizens Police Academy is important, and we had our first open house last year. So jumping into the first topic, one of the main topics that I want to pretty much talk about is mental health, and there's currently the Arrive Together program. This program was started by the current New Jersey Attorney General, Matthew Clacken. So there's been a memorandum of agreement that's been signed between Capitol Health, Prosecutor's Office, and Lawrence Police. Not all Mercer County agencies are participating in this program, but we are. We're participating in it because of the bottom line here. Any officer, the department that wants to participate has to have officers trained in critical intervention training. We at Lawrence Police currently have 4 certified officers and 1 certified instructor who teaches on the county level to other surrounding agencies that participate in this program. So the initiative pairs law enforcement officers with mental health workers to respond to mental health related calls. We are currently a follow-up agency, so they're not going to respond immediately, but they will respond within 24 hours. It's just based on staffing, and it's a new program, but it's a great program. So this was an important quote, I thought, by the Attorney General regarding Arrive Together. In these times, we ask law enforcement officers to undertake roles they never expected when choosing to serve, whether it's marriage counselor, addiction specialist, social worker. And increasingly, police are asked to act like doctors or psychiatrists, determining what drug a person may have taken or what mental health condition they may be experiencing. For a police officer, that's difficult. We're not medical professionals. We're professionals, but not medical professionals. So when our system is structured so that the same armed officer responding to a robbery is also the government's answer to the emergency call of a person in behavioral health crisis, it should come as no surprise that negative outcomes are possible and likely. So what we do is when we have a mental health crisis, we'll refer that individual to Arrive Together, and they will do a follow-up, whether it's phone call or in person, they'll do a follow-up. And we have other resources available to us. We have the Crisis Center at Fold. We have mobile outreach that will come out and assist us. And at the bottom here, I did put that the response times for mobile outreach can be 60 minutes to several hours. So it's not someone that's available immediately. And that does not include, obviously, the necessary time for the officer on scene to evaluate and to transport anywhere. So our mental health calls for service have went up in the last 10 years. I remember the chief last year kind of had a 15 or 20 year chart, but you can see that they've continued to go up. This number 205 from last year, very consistent with 2023. But the one thing I did want to point out is how our CAD system works. That's 205 mental health related calls that are just documented as mental health. So in the event that we have a domestic violence incident, a disturbance, a missing person, a narcotic case, sometimes those cases, there's a subsequent mental crisis associated with a missing person or things like that, but we have to document it all the way, and a missing person takes precedent, so we document it as a missing person, but there is sometimes mental health crisis involved in that. So the 205 is really a bottom number, because that's just documented as mental health. But to give you an idea, disturbances, 116, domestic violence cases, 229, 229 domestic disturbances, 203 domestic violence cases, 36 missing people, 41 narcotics. So when you start to add those couple hundred more, there may be a 10-20% that are actually mental health related. So as you can see, mental health is absolutely, definitely rising. The opioid addiction is pretty similar from last year as far as Narcan issued by officers. We had it's definitely a little lower, 20 Narcan deployed, 3 fatalities last year, and 32 overdose calls. The year before, 36, 33 Narcan, and 6 fatalities. So it's a little lower, but it's still. So this leads me into Lawrence is in a very unique situation. We have a Class 1 officer. His name is Elwood Dasher. He also helps out with code enforcement. Elwood Dasher is known throughout the state based on his connections and mainly his training. There's really no officer in the state of New Jersey that has this level of training, and we have him here in Lawrence Township and here for Lawrence Police. When you look at some of these training topics, mental health for first aid, trauma response team, motivational interviewing, neuroscience of addiction, advocacy for Black communities, crisis intervention, depression, anxiety. This is years and years worth of training. So, I'm sorry. My goal is to make him a full-time secondary responder to the officers that go out to the scene. When I explained that we have kind of a 30, 60 minute hour delay sometimes, this would allow us to get started on services for mental health cases immediately, within minutes. He can, once the officer determines that the scene is safe, Elwood can come and provide his resources, his help. He can't diagnose, but he has a lot of networking and connections and can start the process for us to get, the person the help that they need and the right resources and the follow-up resources. Follow up with that, and sometimes we have repeated people, so he can develop a rapport. So the goal is to make him a full-time Class 1 officer assigned to Lawrence Police as a mental health advocate. The next topic is traffic. Obviously, the goal in Lawrence Township is always to keep Lawrence Township roadways safe. In 2024, we had 1,239 crashes, 246 injuries, 14 pedestrians struck, 7 bicyclists, 1 fatality, 115 outside agency assists, meaning state police up on the highway or any roads that border Lawrence Township. Officers are helping with traffic because obviously some of our roads are affected. And 417 disabled cars, whether in their shoulder or in the roadway, it doesn't matter. We used to have a dedicated traffic unit in Lawrence. We do not. A lot of this responsibility falls on the zone officers. So an officer working a zone will take a crash report, and some of these are obviously, when you look at anyone with injuries, pedestrians, bicyclists, fatalities, they're time-consuming investigations. They take a long time. Last topic is body-worn cameras. So in 2025, all officers in New Jersey are in wearing uniforms and requiring our body cameras. We are currently in a 60-month program with Axon. We're in year 3 of 5 of the program. This is for fleet and body-worn cameras for the cars and for the officers. So any encounter with someone with body cam obviously has to be recorded. So this is year 3 of 5, and it's 150/1,500. So the last slide, 2025 requested expenses, 3 additional police officers, touched on mental health, touched on traffic, and community policing for us is huge. So one day, my vision would be a community policing unit that would strictly handle all of those events that we talked about and even more, and really, get out there in the community all day, every day. The Class 1 officer to assist full-time with follow-up mental health services and act as a secondary responder, supporting our officers and community members with expertise in social work. There's a very, very small delay, and he's immediately able to start on the support services. The last would be $5,500 in police barricades and cones. We do not have any barricades. This allows essentially for increased visibility during any traffic safety issues, any major events, any motor vehicle crashes, any natural disasters, any type of emergency. It allows more visibility for the officers to stay safe and for the public while they're driving to see what's going on and keep everybody safe. That's the goal. So that's the end. Any questions at all?
Just with mental health, I know that we talked about for responding to events that occur. What about support for officers who, due to tragedies?
Yes.
Okay.
So the police have support services. There's cop to cop, and there's a few other support services that we have. And there's a lot of officers. We have resiliency officers here trained in Lawrence Police. We have, I believe, 2, a sergeant and a detective trained as resiliency officers who can get started immediately. And we have county resources that are involved in the cop to cop program that come out immediately that we've utilized in the last few months.
Chief Redding, thank you for this report. I had a question. When did we stop the traffic, the dedicated traffic unit?
Dedicated traffic unit, I would say it's been roughly 10 years. Roughly 10 years is a dedicated traffic unit.
Well, I witnessed this morning a accident at Wawa where he definitely needed the barriers because his safety was in jeopardy and the people that were involved, only because you know how that parking lot is, and there was no, distinction. So definitely that's something that's needed.
Mayor. Chief Redding. Thanks for the brief presentation and thanks for the
Absolutely.
evening reading. It's great to hear about all the good things that are going on right now. Especially, I think we're all fortunate as council and as a community that you lead off your presentation not talking about crime stats and trying to bring them down, but actually talking about mental health and sort of the next level of things. So kudos to the department and sort of doing the basic stuff and then moving on to do the extra pieces.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm curious, what your timeline is. I mean, you mentioned about wanting to sort of have a community unit at some point. What's kind of your timeline, since
Our patrol division, our staffing in our patrol division takes priority. Obviously, the calls that come in are part of the priority. Anything on top of that, the extra, becomes secondary. So I would have to really break down the required amount of officers that would be in patrol, and then the officers that we have in our detective bureau, and that allows us to then do the extra activities.
Understood. I didn't mean to put you on
That's
the
okay.
spot.
So, number wise, I mean, this gets us started in working towards that goal.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Because my follow-up is also about the traffic division. Councilwoman Perry's point.
This
You know, I
gets us
think
started.
anyone who drives on Route 1,
Mhm.
you know, remembers the days when there was someone sort of keeping the dump trucks and the people going on the right-hand lane, cutting back across.
You're actually,
You know, just
Absolutely.
wondering, you know, your thoughts on that.
so the idea, and I wrote this down here in my notes, the goal of a dedicated traffic unit obviously is to handle the motor vehicle crashes. But be visible in the highly traveled areas and address any concerns that we get. You know, as far as parking concerns, speeding concerns, being visible on the streets that we're getting the most complaints. We do have the initiative that Chief Longo started, 3 Streets initiative, 3 streets a week. Those are streets that we compile through the captain as he receives complaints. And those are just streets that we're getting a lot of complaints on, so that the officers can go out, be visible, you know, run traffic enforcement, educate, things like that. So there are doing stuff.
Appreciate your answers and thanks for all the hard
Thank
work
you.
that you and command staff and everyone on
Thank you.
is out on the road. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
I have to keep you up there for 2 other questions. One, how are things coming along with the situation of shoplifting?
So shopliftings are steady. They're steady. We've seen a decrease in violent crime. The stats are definitely on there. A decrease in violent crime, but you see, you know, we have seen an increase in shoplifting incidents. We know that Mercer Mall and Quaker Bridge Mall are very highly populated areas, you know, shopping and on the weekends and stuff. So the stores have all been great. There's a lot of investigative resources that we have that we've been able to solve some cases, which we should be able to put one out this week, I think, today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, from a recent spree of shopliftings that was a group. So, but they have increased between Mercer Mall, Quaker Bridge Mall. Take a lot of calls for service and time. They are time consuming because, you know, sometimes some of the stores have loss prevention, some don't. So some people would
Take
get caught and some not. So when we have follow-up to do, that's why we have to protect the bureau. So, but then, you know, someone who would get caught, the patrol officer would handle that, and, you know, it's a few hours for them.
The last question I had is, there's been several complaints and concerns over the years about the speeding running on Route 1 South between the diner and all the way to the circle.
Yes.
Because I've seen police officers like in the area, but how is that progressing as far as safety? Because I did see someone almost get hit too.
Yes, I'm sure. That has absolutely been an area of concern. I do want to point out, which I did not point out from last year, the request by Chief Longo, we did receive our traffic trailer. That's huge. We're gonna start to deploy that soon. We just have to wait for the registration and insurance. That has a signboard, huge signboard on it. And that will be able to get out to those areas of concern to be able to, again, draw more attention to the reduced speeds. And, you know, it comes down to visibility, you know, marked police cars and our new traffic trailer. So that's going to be a huge addition to our traffic.
When do you think that'll be up? Not to
Once-
hold you 4 months, 6
Not-
months?
No, faster. Within weeks. Within weeks, we'll have that report.
Thank you for all you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I do have a couple questions.
Mhm.
Hey, Chief, thank you for your time. We talked this morning, I just want to get this on the record so
Sure.
everybody hears it.
Absolutely.
The police are undergoing a pretty significant transition to an in-house 911 dispatch. It's designated to start April 1st. How are we doing with that?
We are on track. Lieutenant RJ Laird is heading the transition. He's been working with Sergeant Matt Rossi. We're in the final stages of the background process So we have our employees, we're just finishing up some things with the background, but we are all absolutely on track, and April 1st is going to be a start.
The other thing that we discussed was doing a police staffing study. The last time that we did one was back in 2011. So I think with the advent of technology and the different issues that we're being confronted with now with policing, to mental health and all that, I think this is a really good year for us to engage consultants to determine what is appropriate staffing level, also to gear towards what you want the vision of the department to be. So I'm looking forward to doing that this year, so we have a better sense of what we need moving forward and how we can approach each one of the issues that may be different than they were in 2011.
You're absolutely right. You compare 2011 and 2025 in policing, it's two different things.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, things have changed, and a study would get us to understand, areas that we didn't think about, the areas we could change and be more efficient.
That's all I have.
Well, I want to thank you, and also I want to thank you for the work that your officers do in all of our schools. I know that there are 5 officers dedicated to our schools, and I thank you for that. Keep it going.
You're outstanding.
Keep
Thank
it
you.
going.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next for a presentation, we have Mr. Whitehead, who will talk to us about, he is the Director of Public Works. Which we are loving right now with all the snow and ice and all. He's such an awesome job. I tell you.
That's a bad word, ice.
Very
It
bad.
looks like we might be getting lucky with the Thursday storm. It might be staying south, so, which is good for us.
Yes.
Council, Mayor, Manager, thank you very much for having me tonight. I'll go through my presentation about our finances this year, but I want to start it and just give you an idea of our thinking in public works. So my staff has had a need for an outdoor forklift for quite some time. An outdoor forklift for us moves sanders, moves plows, moves equipment safely without putting forks on other equipment. But where do you get $150,000 for a piece of equipment? So this is always our thinking. We found that at a New Jersey Turnpike surplus auction. We bought that for $11,000. That's a $150,000 machine. Gets better. Gets better. A little bit more money, a little paint, and my guys know how. So for $16,000, we've saved $135,000 on this machine that Lawrence Township will have for the next decade. I just wanted to start it that way because this is really our thinking and how we get by. There's not always a lot of resources for public works. We have to make things work. And this just goes to the staff at Public Works, Clyde D'Angelo and his staff. This was a project over a few months. This didn't happen overnight. But with that kind of thinking, we can save a lot of tax dollars. So let's go ahead and get into it. Our division summary is me, Jan and Clyde, and then we have 16 in the street division. We have 4 people in buildings and grounds, 10 in parks, and we have 4 vehicle maintenance. The ecological facility is staffed by the street division, and we share that with Princeton Township. Things we've done over time to help save money, contracting out services like janitorial and grass cutting, cross-training our staff to be able to help out during busy times so we're not using overtime and out of title money, computerizing our public works operation, work order system, the flow of our work, how we dispatch work has become more efficient over the years, and our division crossover. Everybody in our department knows how to snowplow. Mechanics snowplow, building maintenance snowplows, the whole park department snowplows. We could not cover a 22 square mile town if we didn't have every single employee cross-trained. Our leaf collection program is an 8-week program where the whole department's collecting leaves, whether it's in the parks or out on the road. And our ecological facility, a lot of work goes on there, and I have to have a lot of different employees that know how to work our office down there, the credit card machine, all our DEP logs. We have a 26 page permit rules we have to follow with DEP. A lot of people need to know what those rules are to work the facility. 2025 Public Works staffing requests no new staffing for this budget cycle. 2025 snow and ice events, as everybody knows, we've had a little nagging winter. We had 4 snow events, total of 8 inches. That means we were plowing snow. Some of these storms, even though it's not a lot, the roads have to be plowed to get it off the road. You can't salt through 2 inches of snow. You have to scrape it off and salt. 8 salting events. We've used over 2,000 tons of salt, 1,400 hours in plowing and 1,400 hours in salting this winter already. And we're not done. Hopefully we get to March quick. Our Parks Division, 0 increase in the operating budget. Capital request, we're looking for, working with Nancy, a long nagging problem at the football field. Right now, we use temporary fencing to keep the parents off the field from where the kids are and the coaches. We're recommending to put permanent fencing on both sides of the field for player, parent safety. 2 zero-turn mowers and a new compactor truck. This compactor truck is probably one of the most used things in Lawrence Township. During the spring and summer, it operates 6 days a week. It services all the public bathrooms in the parks and empties about 100 garbage cans throughout our park system. Just a list of our parks that we service, everything from Stoniker Park, Hamnet, Gilpin, Colonial Lake, Eldridge. So we're responsible for all the park lands. Park maintenance activities, we do everything in-house in Lawrence. We only contract out some lawn mowing to save staff hours. The islands on Federal City, we have 12 detention basins, the Federal City islands, everything else we cut. Ground maintenance, walking paths, parking lots, tree pruning, leaf removal, mulching. We do all our own aerating and seeding. We do all our own irrigation work. We have a lot of athletics in Lawrence, which is great, but requires a lot of work. 12 soccer fields, football, 2 football practice fields, baseball, bocce, lacrosse, 24 playground equipment, 11 tennis courts. So we got for the guys, we have our work cut out for us. Buildings and grounds, 0 increase in the operating budget for 2025. Capital request. Our HVAC replacement program, we try to fund that every year for replacements in the buildings. We've been very lucky with PSE&G over the last few years, replacing a lot of equipment, but we still have some old equipment in our buildings, and we have to be diligent on replacing those items as we go through time. Now, here's one of our bigger requests. The police fueling equipment and tank. So for years, up here at Town Hall, we had a police tank where the police filled and didn't have to drive to Public Works. When we renovated this building, it had to be removed. It was underground and had to go at the time. But at that moment in time, there wasn't funding to replace it. We've hit a point where with the flooding at Public Works and only having one fueling site is a problem. Now, it's happened a few times this year when our fueling site goes offline, and it could be a computer problem, it could be electrical. There's no fuel. There's nowhere to get fuel. The police either have to resort to our DOT contract, which is using their yard, which is not a very friendly setup system, or we're going to Wawa. And we've done that. We desperately need to have a second fueling site, which we always had. Got put on the back burner, but it's got to come to the forefront now. We need a second fueling site. We've had too many instances where we couldn't get fuel. Ambulances, fire trucks, police cars, snowplow equipment. This really is a vital request that we really need to look at. This would go exactly out back where the old one was. Not any new place, not something new. It would go in the same spot next to the generator that it already was for years and years. This is something we should definitely keep on the table and talk about as we go through the budgetary process. Our buildings and grounds, we got nearly 145,000 square feet. Public Works, Town Hall, the police court facility, senior center, EMS, the nature center, the Brearley House, the things we do at the firehouses. And we do this with 2 building maintenance personnel. They're really great. They really know their work and they're efficient. Now, as we go through time, we'll look at if we're adding buildings and what that might look like down the road. We do everything: electrical repairs, drywall, floor tile, carpentry. We also monitor a lot of the generator service, the monthly pest control, the fire alarm systems, all get pump testing, all get monthly churns, all get inspected on a monthly basis by law. All that has to be coordinated to let them in our buildings, to inspect it, to make repairs when needed. Street division, 0 increase for 2025. The only capital request we have is keeping up with our aging snowplow equipment and replacing a dump truck with a plow and sander. I have some trucks that date back 25 years in our fleet to some newer models we have. So each year we try to add something, replace something that has something to do with snow. Now, a lot of our equipment is always looked at if it could clear snow. The garbage truck we're buying for the parks will have a plow on it. When we buy a tractor for the parks, it's got to have some type of plow on it. Everything we do, we think about snow. Because I've said a number of times, it's 2 a.m. on a Sunday, nobody's coming to help us in a snowstorm. We have to deal with it ourselves. So snow is very important in terms of planning. We don't start looking at snow in December. We're looking at snow year round. My wheel of labor. I like to show this because you can see leaf collection and brush collection dominate our hours of labor. All right, it's a service the mayor and council want to give to the residents, and we do. And we've tried to make it as efficient as possible over the years with equipment, with employees, with our ecological facility, with our contract with Britain Industries. We really try to make this process. Our leaf collection, we windrow the leaves, we make leaf compost, and then we sell it, or we give it to the residents for free. Wood chips, I have to be a little creative getting rid of those. The DEP only allows us 1 year of storage at our facility, and it has to be gone. So that gives us 12 months to figure out where all this stuff's going. Ecological Center, you could see the number of hours we're committed to this facility. And tree work now. Tree work over the last several years has started to dominate our workforce. We have a full-time tree person, he has a helper, and we're inundated with tree requests. Whether it's trimming or removals, we're really on top of it. But you see how these things start to dominate and things like road repair start to shrink. So it's really juggling these things to know what's important and what we have to get to. Street Division handles 200 lane miles of road, and they do everything from crack sealing to tree removal to stream maintenance to storm prep to trash cart replacement. They're the catch-all of all our divisions. So not only are they doing paving and blacktop work and pipe work and sinkholes and stump removal and fence repairs and putting up street signs, we're doing all these other things as well. It's really a great crew. Tree removal, we talked about. We removed 158 dead street trees, trimmed 152. In our parks, we removed 30 dead trees and trimmed 579 trees. Right now, we're on Johnson Avenue pruning all those cherry trees. Brush collection, we talked about. Leaf collection. Street sweeping, we try in the spring and summer to keep the street sweeper out every day. So, over 700 miles of street sweeping. Jimmy Gorski does a great job. White goods. So we still collect white goods every Wednesday by appointment. Last year, we picked up 56,000 pounds of white goods from residents. Roadside mowing, storm drain, snow removal. That's last year, not this year. I was talking about this year before. That's 2024. I think we had 4 snowstorms last year. Electronic recycling. This is every Wednesday at our ecological facility. We took in 2,500 pounds of computers, 18,000 pounds of TVs, and 4,000 pounds of printers. We do get a little bit of money back on the computer end, not the other ends. Our mulch delivery program was a success. We're gonna do it again this year. We might add leaf compost this year. We had over 171 deliveries and took in almost $10,000. The money's very nominal in this program. It's really getting rid of our double ground wood chips and getting them back into the community. That's what we're really trying to do. Vehicle maintenance, same thing, 0 increase, capital request, 4-post mobile vehicle lift. Our underground lifts are aged out, they're underwater. We're really trying to get everything above ground. pneumatic tire changer. That's just a replacement of an old unit. Vehicle maintenance, the guys do basically all our work in-house. Over 1,000 work orders. The guys really do a great job. And those are the capital requests. Central Park fencing, 2 zero-turn mowers, the compactor truck, HVAC, the police fueling, the dump truck, the 4-post, and the pneumatic tire changer. That's our ecological center numbers. You guys have those numbers. It's a very busy site. We're asked by other towns constantly if they could join us. Our problem is we're 5 acres and we're very limited to the quantities we could take in. So we really can't expand. So we're kind of landlocked on where we are. And right now I'm working with Jim Parvis. We're going through a whole new DEP change where they have stormwater requirements now. We were always exempt. Now we're in this world of stormwater. They have us testing the water and doing these other tests to see what stormwater facility we might need there. So we don't know which way that's going yet. We're still working on that. Working with engineering for this year. From last year's budget, Glen Avenue and Stoniker paving, 2025, the state aid project, Titus Phillips, Craven, Gordon, James Street, and George Street. And our regular 2025 road program, Princess Bergen, Cold Soil, Forest Rasa, Hughes, Lombard, Point Court, and Torrent. That's all I got. I tried to be quick. Thank you.
Thank you. I see those public work trucks everywhere.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Mayor,
Oh, I'm sorry, any questions?
I'm not gonna get off.
All right.
Mr. Whitehead. First of all, I just want to say publicly, I'm impressed that all that happens with 37 people, including you. The idea that our parks are as clean as they are, that, the plowing, all the accolades that you've heard over the years that we all share, it's just incredible. I also have to say that having visited your facility recently, it is spotless. It is incredible how, from the storage areas to the mechanics bays to where the materials are put, it's spotless. It's incredible. So I just want to say thank you. I do have a few questions. First, on the replacement for the HVAC units.
Yes.
Are we looking into making them more energy efficient as well as using whatever the municipal version of direct install is from?
Yeah, so we've used direct install quite a bit. The problem with direct install, it's got to be a large enough package for it to work, usually with lighting and a lot of equipment. When it comes to one-offs, it doesn't really work for them. But yeah, anything we're putting in is of the highest efficiency that's available right now in the market.
Wonderful. And then I don't think you should have a problem with the police fueling. I mean, we have a zero budget right now. I think the manager and the CFO have done a great job, so that shouldn't be a problem. I had a couple questions about also about the dump truck lead time. Is that something? How easy is it to get these pieces of equipment?
It's not. It's gotten worse since COVID. So it's about a 2-year process for me to get a new dump truck in. So by the time we do this process, we do the budget, we get our capital in the late spring, then it's about, and then we need to either bid it out or buy it off a co-op. Then it's about another year to get the truck. Another year. So it's a 2-year process of that's one of the hard things about snow. we have to be ahead of the curve with equipment, because it takes so long. I cannot wait till it's junk in the garage and say, geez, I need a new truck. All our trucks are on a route. If you come to Public Works during a snowstorm, you're gonna see very little there. Now, over the years, I've kept a couple surplus pieces as backups, and that's really saved us. So when a guy breaks down, which happens a lot, he comes into the garage and then the mechanic's gotta assess what's wrong. I put him into something else and get him out the door, and he gets back into his route. When I first started here, that didn't happen. That guy would sit in the garage and wait. And if it was a transmission or something bigger, that truck wouldn't go back out. So that's one of the things we've changed over the years, is trying to keep a few surplus pieces of equipment that we already own and just leave it there for the sake of snow removal when we need it. So yeah, it's a 2-year process of getting a truck.
Well, I was just reading this article about how long it takes to get fire apparatus these days, so I was curious about for you.
Even longer.
So, yeah. And
Jack's been waiting for an ambulance for what, 2 years? 2 years. And it's not the ambulance, it's the chassis of the truck. So.
And I just want to end with you, that I appreciate the leaf collection. I know I've seen the guys in the Lakelands with their rakes out, getting stuff under the curb. I mean, the extra mile that they do is incredible. So thank you. And then I did have a question, so don't go away yet, of the manager as well, about how the Public Works, the building and maintenance piece works with the firehouses. I'm trying to understand in terms of the firehouses, are they all owned by the township, or how?
They're
What's
not
that
all-
agreement?
Yeah,
How does that work?
So we own Slackwood Firehouse. Lawrenceville Firehouse and Lawrence Road Firehouse are owned by the volunteer fire companies.
All right, so
When we use the main bays, we use it with our people and our equipment. And as a result, Public Works is often responding to calls for varying maintenance requests and services.
Gotcha. I just wanted to understand that dynamic. So thank you both.
Greg, anything you want to add on that, or?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. We try never to say no. We always try to help. And then there's some of the gray areas, but like Kevin said, we're there to try to solve the problem and get everybody safe and doing what they need to do.
It's definitely a team concept, because they're allowing us to use this to serve the community. They're serving the community, so we're all in it together, so.
No, I completely agree, Manager, Mayor, and Mr. Whitehead. I appreciate that. I see it, especially tonight's group of presentations, all groups that work together hand in hand to make one a wonderful place to live. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just have a quick question. You had mentioned the football field, Central Park. There was some new fencing that's going up there for dividing the parents in the field or something like that. I had gotten a question regarding the lighting of that field. Is that something?
Well, the field is lit.
Okay.
The field does have lighting. I think a little bit of the problem is with the volunteer staff knowing all the time, and I'm talking for Nancy now, but
Okay.
she can certainly speak on it. But I think part of the problem with so many different volunteers, sometimes there's a lack of communication when those lights need to be on or off.
Okay.
And I think Nancy goes out of her way nights, weekends to try to facilitate all those last minute requests.
Okay. So, yeah, there are.
Because we could do that remote from the phone. That's the system with Muscom. She can call that in and put the lights on or off.
Awesome.
But then that requires her 8 at night, 7 at night, to constantly be servicing everybody, so.
And then just one last question. I have received a question from a resident regarding the salt that we use, I guess, on the roads.
Okay,
I don't know, environmentally, if it's.
well, look, salt in general, I don't think we're an abuser of salt. But salt's not, over salting everything isn't great for the environment. I think we all know that. But I think we're all waiting, what's gonna replace it and when? And I think we'll be open to that. So we do brine. Now, brining is a way to get the salt right on the road without runoff. So it goes down with water, then the water evaporates, and we're left with salt right on the road. There's no bounce off. So we've been using brine for, I think we were the first, maybe the first ones with Hamilton to start using brine years ago. And that has really changed our game, because now when the police are out patrolling, there's already a layer of salt on all our main roads. So when it starts snowing, that gives us a little extra time to get guys in, to get trucks out, because our main roads are already salted. And that salt is placed right on the road. It didn't go anywhere. So yeah, I think that's a work in progress. We've been reading a lot on it. Of course, they're trying to come up with substitutes, but until that happens, I think we're stuck with salt.
Thank you for that explanation, I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have to come out for a tour.
Absolutely.
And now we'll have Nancy Bergen, our superintendent of recreation.
Oh, Peter. Peter.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm going to be presenting the 2025 budget presentation for the Recreation Department, special events, and our Senior Center Office on Aging. These are the three budgets that we have, and this slideshow just allocates our request for 2025. The Recreation Department, special events, and our Senior Center Office on Aging. And I'm just going to go through what each department does. Our Recreation Department mission is to promote healthy and active lifestyles while fostering a community engagement. Our team includes 3 staff members, which is Jeff Radis, Emily Sudam, and myself. Jeff and Emily are very dedicated employees and very lucky to have them. There's a lot of words here, so I think I could give you guys a presentation. But the Recreation Department's operating budget breakdown. Most of our budget for the Recreation Department is essential for programs such as youth sports, camps, and playground equipment. It also covers the cost of sports equipment and technology that helps us manage registration and communication effectively. We also, some of our events that we have the travel camp and things like that as well. These are our recreation programs, and we offer a wide range of year-round programs, including basketball, swim lessons, exercise classes, summer camp, walking programs. And our programs are all designed to cater all ages and interests. So you can see these are a lot of our different programs that we offer through the Recreation Department. There is something for everybody in the community with us in most of our programs. Our department partners with many community collaborations, and we have like Hamlet Soccer, lacrosse, baseball, and softball, Lawrence Environmental Education, and these help provide more engaging programs for the township. Like Greg said, we do work closely with them. We do all of their, most of the scheduling, and then for the lighting schedule, field scheduling, and everything like that in between. This is our recreation office of hours of operation. Our office here is open from 8:30 to 4:30, but we do have, we have our park facilities. The pool, we do manage the pool at night, where we have the lifeguards and we have swim team and things like that. So most of our programs are open, we're open till 9:30. And that's like like Greg was saying with the lights, we do get a lot of calls at night, the lights aren't on or shut the lights off, but different activities, but we do have a lot of activities at night. Our senior center, our office on aging. The senior center is managed by Lillian Sapp, the executive directors, with staff members, Natasha Sears. Our recreation leader, Ron Zisminski, is our senior van transportation driver. And this group's worked very hard to provide a wide variety of programs and social events for our seniors. That's our new sign too out there for our electric sign, as you can see. What the budget is used for the senior center, we have different costs of programs, entertainment, foods, and supplies. This allocates and ensures that our senior residents have access to engaging activities and support service year-round. These are all of our senior programs that we've had in 2024 with a wide range. We have art classes, line dancing, exercise programs, and group outings. And these are all designed to promote health, creativity, and social interaction with our seniors. And these are all the social events. Our seniors love social events, so we host numerous social events, including holiday celebrations, education seminars. We do a lot of it, but they also work with the health department. And this really keeps our seniors connected and very active.
Yes.
The senior center also works with several groups. The Lawrenceville School, the County of Mercer, which does the lunch program, Everyday ARP, and these are to help with all of the resources and enrichment activities. Next is our special events. Our special events, the Recreation Department hosts several successful events throughout the year. The department works closely with other departments such as Public Works, Police, and Emergency Services to ensure that events run smoothly. And what the budget goes for with most of the special events, it's usually rentals, food, entertainment, or other supplies that we need to make our community events successful. And these are our special events that we do run. We go for Memorial Day, Independence, a lot of holiday events, the 9/11, our Jolly Trolley Ride, which was a success. We added the third one this year, so we're hoping to do that again next year. And we plan these events throughout the year, and they're an impact to the community. In conclusion, just wanted to, our 2025 budget request supports all of our programs, like I said, special events, and we really are here to serve the community. There are a couple of groups that I'd really like to thank for their ongoing support. Our Lawrence Patriotic Committee for their contributions to Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Our Senior Executive Committee for the valuable input and volunteer efforts. And our Recreation Advisory Committee, I can't say enough about our Recreation Advisory Committee. They're always showing up, one of them are here tonight, and they're showing up for our special events, and they're helping whenever they need us. I think I won for sure. But that's it. I mean, I could go on and on, but these are all of our different events that we have. If you have any questions, but thank you for all your support when you show up to our events. It does mean a lot to us.
Thank you so much for all that you do, and absolutely to your committee, kudos for the tremendous support that they provide on a volunteer basis for our residents. I don't know if this is the right question, but in regards to income, is there any income or fees that come into?
Revenue?
Yeah, revenue.
Yeah, there is a
That's what I was searching
revenue
for.
line from
Okay.
recreation fees.
Okay.
I must commend you and your staff and the senior center staff to do all that you do with $18,500.
I can't wait to be a senior.
I was tired just looking at the list of activities, and as we've seen, those line dancers are no joke.
Yeah, it's tremendous. And just one other question I have, do we have any demographic information that captures all of the residents that we reach throughout the township?
Well, it's hard to do that with our special events. I mean, that's something we do get a lot of people, like we just had our Valentine's Day.
Oh my God.
But we had that. I mean, we do, it's hard to get a number for those special events. I mean, our seniors, we do have numbers for senior centers because they can sign in and things like that. I mean, our different programs, yes, we do have numbers. I think we can get those for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that information.
I just want to say, first off, thank you for all that you do. I'm impressed. I remember when, a while ago, pre-pandemic, we raised taxes. Yes, we raised taxes, and it was to add someone to help you in the recreation department. And so that you wouldn't have to answer the phones anymore, and you could start to think strategically about what the recreation.
Still answer the phone.
Well, maybe you need another person. But what I'm getting at is, it's great to see the fruits of that, in that all the things that you've done, especially sort of keeping us all together through the pandemic, and, thinking creatively about outdoor activities back then, and all the things, I mean, the list, I see Ms. LaSalle here, all the things that she does to keep the community connected. It's really a wonderful service that you do.
Yeah, we do have, our total staff we have 6 full-time, and we do have a lot of part-time, but yeah, with six people, we do there's a lot of things that we can cover, we do cover, so.
And although my children have gotten older, I just want to ask how the sort of enrollment is with the sort of the camps and the other recreation programs. Is that sort of back up to pre-pandemic levels? Is it growing even more?
It is, it's definitely growing more. We just filled up sometimes we just do like travel camp is a little expensive because of the trips and have gone up, and so it's busing. So we just opened up travel camp, which filled up within 2 days. So we'll probably open up a second one. But all of our camps, our camps are definitely have increased a lot, even before they're even higher than they were before. And our programs, we do fluctuate some of our programs. Our swimming is up, basketball's always been up. Wrestling is a little bit lower this year, but yeah, we'll get that back up. But a lot of our programs, people are looking for other things. Our nature detectives program has been very successful. So people definitely are interested in that.
And I just want to also say, because I see a school board person here, it's great to see that partnership between the school district and the township in terms of sharing facilities and things like that. Again, everyone pitching together for the sake of the community.
Yeah, we are lucky that we're able to use the facilities, that we can, when we can use them, we use them. But, yeah.
Great, thank you, Mary.
Well, again, thank you so much for all that you do. The senior center, I can't wait to become a senior, and although I do participate. But tremendous work that you all do within this person. So thank you so much for your contribution to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
I think that wraps up all of our presentations for this evening. Thank you all, and as all of the presentations have been completed, you're welcome to stay, or if you have more other things to do, we understand. So I want to thank you. Exit. With that being said, it brings us now to our first opportunity for public participation. This is a 5-minute presentation. Sure. Come on.
Hi, Jim Hooker. I'm a executive board member and founding member of the Friends of Colonial Lake Park, which is a nonprofit 501c3. And we like to look after the park as best we can and advocate for the park. So I would be remiss not to get up here, and I'm with Tom Ritter, by the way, also, who's our president, and thank, as I have before, not only the council and manager, but these great folks who have come up today to talk about all they do and being on the ground, as it were, to use a phrase, they do that and much more. And every one of them, you know, Nancy just had the Valentine's Day at the park Friday night. Greg is incredible with what he does. We had some banners made up because of the 100th anniversary of the park. Greg was kind enough to go ahead and put them up for us. They're beautiful. They're still out there today. Mayor, Councilman Ryan, Councilman Bobbitt, you guys were at the 100th anniversary. Councilman Perry, Councilman Kanaki, you guys have been supporters over the many years, and we appreciate it. And the police too. The police sent an officer, a wonderful young man, whose name I forget. One of you guys might know, I don't know. Wonderful young man who was at the squad car at the 100th anniversary. Nancy, I think, helped there too, Nancy Bergen with Recreation, to talk with residents and make folks feel more comfortable and things like that. So, yeah, there's just so much. From a personal level of interacting, and then from what these folks do, not only, of course, at the park that we advocate most for, but all of these other parks that have been identified and talked about tonight. And we can't believe we're sitting over there saying, how can so few people do so much, right? And I know you guys are saying the same. So I would have been remiss not to get up and thank these great folks, and we appreciate it. And the council, as always, we appreciate it, Madam Clerk. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just, did you sign the sheet for
I
us?
signed it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, seeing none other for public participation, closing public participation. Review and revision of the agenda.
Yeah, I had two questions. One, I have for the municipal attorney, 18H6, the resolution to direct the Resolution Township Council directing the municipal clerk to solicit and advertise for the position of deputy municipal clerk. I thought we were still trying to figure out who's the appointing authority, which, based on your November research to council and sort of our inability to pass an ordinance one way or another, it would seem that it's sort of in limbo right now.
Well, it's working. Sorry. I think, we did discuss, the language within not just the administrative code, but the statute. And I'm sorry, I don't have my memo in front of me, but my recollection is that my opinion was that the council did have the authority to appoint based on both the statute and certain language and administrative codes, subject to if the council were to pass an ordinance otherwise that would give that authority to the municipal manager. So I think, and I've consulted, since that time with some other municipal attorneys, and while I gave you a wide variety of instances throughout the state of New Jersey, I think I had 50 or 60 municipalities, including many with our form of government. The predominant number showed that the council has that authority. I do not see any reason, and from my research, that it's otherwise, unless council were to pass the ordinance number 108. No, I'm sorry, that's not the right one. The ordinance that's on
10A.
with regard to, 10A. That would give that authority to the manager.
Thank you, Mr. Sypak. I just wanted to be clear before we
Sure.
went down that. So, okay. And then I think with the mayor's permission, we were going to remove item H7, 18H7, authorizing the appointment of the Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Committee person, because typically we just make that,
Appointment.
yeah.
Mhm.
So with the mayor's okay, I'll make a motion to remove that from the agenda, and then you'll make a motion at a later point.
Second.
Wait a second. Thank you. Also, we wanted to amend the agenda to have an executive session.
Yeah, we've provided, Mayor, if I may, under H9, we have our standard language with regard to authorizing a closed session if necessary, and in conversation with you and the manager, there is certain negotiations that are imminent that should not wait until the next meeting in March. And I think it appropriate and within the statute for us to have probably a brief closed session involving a negotiation that you should be made aware of.
Thank you.
I do have one other item, potentially. If you tell me, if you are all in a position to make a selection with regard to the tax assessor, I believe it's important for us to go into closed session to discuss that.
We did that
We did already.
prior
already
to,
did.
we did at
We're
6
ready to
p.m.
vote.
Anything else?
Mayor, I'm now confused what the motion actually is, because I merely motioned, I thought I motioned for the removal of 18H7, Mr. Ryan seconded, and then we didn't take a vote on that.
Okay, point of order. So we will now call the roll. Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
So,
For the removal of the.
18H7.
okay,
Go to boards and committees.
okay. I just want to get started. Okay, so who moved it? Okay, and who second?
I did.
Mr. Ryan.
Right.
Thank you.
And I'll call the roll. Mr. Bobbin,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yeah.
And Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
Yes. Now, if I can have a motion, we have the adoption of minutes from the regular meeting October 1st, 2024.
I'll make a motion to adopt, for adoption of 8A regular meeting October 1st, 2024.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion and second. Second is by Councilwoman Perry. We can call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbin,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. The awarding matter of rejection of bids, we do not have any. So bring us to the introduction of ordinances.
Mayor, I'd like to introduce 10A, ordinance number 248525, an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Article 6 of the Lawrence Township Administrative Code entitled Officers and Employees, Section 10-38, Municipal Clerk, Deputy Municipal Clerk Position.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to state why I'm putting this on,
Okay, go
if
ahead.
I may. Thank you. The reason why I introduced this ordinance asking for the deputy municipal clerk position to be appointed by the township manager is because that's typically what we've done in the past. For the past 54 years, the person in that seat would always be appointed by the manager. part of this reason is because we are a civil service township. We have civil service rules, and this position is considered unclassified within civil service. So the deputy municipal clerk position is unclassified, meaning it doesn't have the protections of other positions in this township. And so I have serious concerns about having an unclassified position within the clerk's office, where that person is only answerable to council with no term set, and not understanding who's the who would, sort of watch over them, oversee them, discipline them, anything like that. And so I just have I have a deep concern. That's why I put this on, because I felt as if having the manager make the appointment in combination with the clerk, that seems to be something that has worked well in the past, and I don't think council needs to get involved. So thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to speak.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah, sure. Councilwoman Garrett?
Mr. Seibert, can you clear for me East Windsor having the same type of form of government as we do?
They do.
And they currently have this in place where the council does appoint the clerk and the deputy clerk, correct?
Yeah, my research, which I included in my memorandum, did indicate that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor, may I ask one follow-up question on Ms. Perry's question?
Okay.
Um,
Are you asking the council?
I would ask, I'll ask this in general. I will state this, and then someone can correct me if I'm misspeaking. But my understanding is East Windsor is not a civil service municipality. Is that correct?
I don't know that.
So it's, in a way, the employment piece is different than here.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
No.
Mr. Ryan,
No.
Mayor Farmer.
No. There is another ordinance we have on the agenda. Okay.
What was there? Mayor, I'd like to introduce 10B, ordinance number 2486-25, ordinance providing for sidewalk improvements in and by the Township of Lawrence in the County of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $57,050 therefore and directing the special assessment of the cost thereof.
Do you have a second?
A second.
Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay. If we don't have any other additional adoption of ordinances, no? So we will go now to the manager's report.
I do not have anything to report tonight.
Okay. The attorney's report.
I have nothing,
The clerk's report.
nothing right now. We'll, in executive session, we'll have a discussion.
Okay. And Madam Clerk.
The only thing I would like to report, just to remind everyone that March 11th is the school board election. Today is the cutoff for the registration. Our office was open to 7 for that. And that it will, hopefully, we're gearing up for it. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Unfinished business? And then for new business. You got it? I'm sorry.
Mayor, I'd like to, on the new business, since we were looking for the tax assessor,
Oh, yes. Okay, we need to take a vote on that, is that correct?
I nominate.
Okay.
I nominate Henry, is it Honenberg?
All right, is there a second?
I second.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Excuse me. I'm really surprised by all this, and I apologize.
We didn't get the vote yet.
No, I don't want to vote. I have a voice.
Oh, okay.
So I'm speaking on this issue.
Oh, all right.
Just, I'm surprised there was a closed session meeting that happened today where the discussion took place on who is going to be appointed as tax assessor.
No,
No,
No.
the closed session this evening was just as a follow-up discussion, because Councilman Bobbitt did not attend the interviews. So we were bringing him up to speed and giving him an opportunity to provide any input as well as just.
we did not
discuss.
vote on
Okay,
it.
Did not vote.
No.
So there's no agreement we don't know how you guys are going to vote
No,
right now. Okay.
Mr.
Well, I just
Sypek
want
was in there.
I just want to, just for the record, the tax assessor position is an extraordinarily important position. It is definitely the appointment authority of the council. However, it would behoove any council to have the discussion about qualifications and who's best suited to include the municipal manager, whether it's me or somebody else, because we're going to be directly involved in very significant financial situations that can impact this town in terms of tax appeals that come cyclical. And it would just seem to me that there should be some broader discussion as who is the appropriate candidate to meet the challenges for this town for those very critical situations. And I don't know how much Mr. Sypek has been involved in the conversation, but I know he knows about tax appeals and how critical they are to our town and how critical it is to have institutional knowledge of our township when we have relying upon the testimony and work product of a tax assessor. So I just thought that we probably should have a broader discussion about this before there's an appointment, because I want you to have the basis of all input and knowledge with regard to the position, because it's an important position. So I just expressed my voice. You don't have to listen to me at all. You can take the vote, but I just feel like a broader discussion should take place for the good of the community moving forward.
Mr. Manager, according to your email, did you not feel that they were equally qualified to serve?
I would like the opportunity to discuss both of the qualifications.
But it's council's appointment
Yeah,
on this.
absolutely.
And we did interview, and everybody was there except
Listen,
Mr. Councilman Bobbitt.
if you all
Okay.
fully understand the position of what a tax assessor does and its the nature of the work and all that, then that's fine. I just wanted to offer my experience and understanding of the position. If you wanted it, it's fine. If you don't, I just, that's all.
Thank you for your
And
comment.
Mr. Sypek was in the back, and we did not discuss it on it. We just keep.
I'm not making any allegations like, no allegations like
No,
that.
I understand that. I was involved, in the meeting. There was no violation of the open.
Oh, and please,
No, just for the
please, I'm
record.
not saying that at all. I'm just saying if there were a discussion in closed session, I would have liked to have participated in it, but there wasn't, and I'm fine with that.
Mayor, I will simply say that I think this underlines what I was trying to accomplish in 10A. That's all.
Thank you. We have a nomination and a second. We're ready to call the roll.
Good
Madam
to
Mayor,
get a second.
all right, I'd like to nominate Dave Levy.
I'll second.
All right, now we're ready to call the roll.
Mr. Bob,
Wait, for which
Wait.
one?
For the first motion. The first motion by Councilman Ryan, seconded by Councilwoman Perry. You have that? Okay.
For the nomination of,
that's Mr. Newmanburg,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So that was by you?
correct.
and I second it.
Yes. Okay, so we'll call the roll on that. Mr. Bobbitt,
No.
Mr. Kanaki,
No,
Ms. Berry,
Yes,
Mr. Ryan,
Yes,
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
Mayor, may I say something real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Has this gentleman been made the offer and accepted it? Because I don't know
No, we're just voting on it for the first time.
Voting on appointing him or making an offer to appoint him? Because I thought the vote was to appoint him, and I don't know if we should be appointing anybody that has not accepted the offer.
This is,
Mr. Sybeck, if you can make the clarification clear.
No, I'm sorry. I think there is a reason, that I understand what Mr. Nowinski's saying, and I think it's proper. You're authorizing an offer to him. I mean, he can say yes or no. We can't appoint him if he says no. So, yeah, I think that is correct. There has to be an offer made that he would either agree to or not agree to. So that's what you're doing tonight.
Thank you. Good enough.
Mayor,
Good.
if there's an offer made by the manager, could you CC us council on it, please? And Mr. Sybeck?
Are you instructing me to make an offer?
We're
I don't
voting
think-
on it, no, I'm saying,
I don't think I should be making an offer.
It
I'm
should
not.
come from the clerk, okay.
Yeah.
No, it comes from our office.
Okay.
Go ahead, did you have a comment?
I had I guess, a point of question. Typically in these job offers, don't we go through our HR person? Or is this,
No,
How
it's
do we get
council.
the judge for our appointments?
it's council's appointment.
understood, Mr. Ryan?
Thank you.
All right. Any additional?
I mean, we have
You
to,
have to vote
there
on it.
should be a
Second one.
background check, there should be.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's in there.
That's in there, that's what we're authorizing.
That's,
So the offer is not gonna be made until there's.
that was in your email.
Yeah,
It will follow,
Check your email.
it
It's
will
in-
follow all
Mr. Ryan,
protocols
you don't need to
that,
tell me about my email.
it will follow all protocols that we have for employment offers. That one's closed, okay. This brings us now, that's all finished, right? This brings us now to the second opportunity for public participation. I'm sorry,
wait,
we need to
Wait.
do one vote, but you can walk up, by turn. We'll be ready, we'll be ready for you. Now we'll finish out the votes. Madam Clerk, you can call the roll for the second. For the record. Mhm.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor, I think Mr. Sybeck knows the answer as well, but typically when nominations are made and the first person passes the post, it's,
Irrelevant?
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
very well. Where are you? Oh, come back. 3 minutes.
Good evening. You mentioned, Madam Clerk, you mentioned
State your name
the,
first, just for the record, please.
oh, Jim Cleek, 70 Star Lane, sorry. You mentioned the referendum election.
Yeah.
Now, the mail-out ballots have gone out, and they, I assume, I'm just asking this question really, that they can either be mailed in time or dropped here, just as it would be with a regular municipal election.
Yes, the box is open.
Yeah.
It has been open for a while. Yes.
Okay. Well, now, I should have been asking this at school board meetings, but since I forgot,
There we are.
do you know where, I don't know if you would even be the right person to ask, but since I'm here, if you're voting in person, where's it gonna be?
It's gonna be the same voting places.
I thought it would all be one location for the whole municipality.
No, the school board asked for all the locations to be open, so there's gonna be all the locations,
Okay.
The normal district.
all districts.
And last thing, when the municipal presentation was made, I noticed that there was mentioned that parts of Stoneacre Drive, I think, was paved this past year. And then when it talked about 2025, they were talked about other roads. And as, I don't live on Stoneacre Drive at all, but we walk on it all the time, although I'm gonna walk on it less and less, as you can tell. But part of it is in terrible condition, especially as regards around Glen and, you know what I'm talking about. And I didn't mention that same time last year.
It's on there for this year.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, I didn't see it when you
You got it.
mentioned it, because I know they had, not long ago, the water main break, and that even compounded it. And for the poor people who live around there, I can't imagine. Thank you much.
Thank you so much for your comment. Seeing no other public comments at this time, we're closing public comments. Do you have a motion?
All right, Mayor, I'd like to move 18B1 through H5 and H8 through H9 in block.
Excuse me. Can I make a comment on the one with the deputy?
Not at this time.
So I'll repeat, moving 18B1 through H5 and then H8 and H9 in a block.
I'll second.
The motion is second, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbit?
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki?
Yes.
Ms. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor Farmer?
Yes. Okay, do we have another motion?
Mayor, I'd like to move H6, please. Authorizing a resolution of town council directing the municipal clerk to solicit and advertise for the position of deputy clerk.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Mayor, I think,
You want to
I
have a
think there's some
discussion?
discussion, yes.
Okay, go ahead. Councilman Bobbitt,
I'll defer to the clerk because I think she wanted to speak up.
I think that if you want to speak up, Councilman Bobbitt, you should. The clerk, this is not.
Okay, I will speak up then. I will speak up about this because I think as evidenced by what we just saw with the tax assessor, I have serious reservations about this body making this appointment. I also have questions about why sort of that this needs to be closed by a certain date. What was it? It feels as if we want to move this along fairly quickly and not give enough time to be reviewed, as well as I'm trying to understand why the 5 years experience in the RMC are needed for this position when by statute it's not. And so I'm just wondering if someone who's the author of this, because I didn't see, Mr. Ryan. Yeah, there you go.
I think Councilwoman,
It's not that,
Perry wants.
it's not,
add a
it's
comment.
required, it's what I put in, and this is what I'm asking that it be certified on it.
And,
Just like your resolution to have Mr. Lewinsky appoint.
and doing some research and speaking to the past president of the Municipal Association of Deputy Clerks, it is a good recommendation, and a lot of townships are moving towards that, simply for a higher caliber of appointee.
Mayor, I just pulled this off of deputy clerk, and this is the same thing from Somerset County with their,
The language, understood, and we are within our rights to include the requirements that we're looking to form. Is that correct, Mr. Sybeck? If you could just comment on that?
Yes, it's up to council to,
And I completely understand that. I'm just asking the question of why that's included, especially since I believe it excludes everyone in the clerk's office right now.
I wouldn't know that, so.
And so Yeah,
Okay,
Mr. Bobbitt, it was not a point of excluding anyone because this position, which was added to the budget, has been open for quite some time.
yeah,
So it was behooved to, anyone could have applied for it based on if they wanted to. But again, reviewing with the caliber that we want to align with, even with the current clerk, with her caliber and her experience, we would like our appointee to be at a higher level, which is in line with many municipalities, as I have done the research going through the association.
and
thank you, Councilwoman Perry.
can I follow up with one more question then?
Sure.
And I know Mr. Sypek's looking at me because I'm getting quite a few bites of the apple right now, so. Thank you. But I also wonder, do we expect a higher caliber of applicant for a unclassified position that is basically at the whim of council's appointment? So say council decides a year down the road, we don't like you, you're gone, there's no protection for that person. Do you think, I'm just putting it out there that I don't know if we're gonna get the caliber of candidate that you're thinking we're gonna get in an unclassified position that is honestly just basically based on sort of the changeable nature of this body.
Thank you for your comment, Councilman Bobbitt. Okay, are there any other
The
comments?
last comment I will make, again, we are in line with the Association of Municipal Deputy Clerks. We are not going by a whim. The statute is out there in the entire state of New Jersey.
And we are within our rights to make this appointment and to put the requirements that we are looking to fill the position. Council?
Yeah, okay, I just want to say a couple things.
Mhm.
First, for the audience to understand, the position was not vacant. The title was not given to a person. We have an assistant township clerk performing the duties along with another clerk. So the position was not open. I think there's a general consensus out there that the clerk's office has been doing without a deputy municipal clerk, the functions. And as I stated to you previously, I wrote you a long memo with regard to it. It was the title that was not given. It's not that there is an open position. I don't know, I know this is Mr. Ryan's resolution. I don't know if there was ever a discussion by Mr. Ryan with the clerk. There was never a discussion with me. There was never a discussion with our CFO.
We have been discussing this, I think, since
Let me just,
October.
can I just talk?
Okay, okay, but get to your point.
Well, first of all, the code allows me to have a voice in this, and I want to make
You
sure.
know that you do not agree with us on this position.
Mayor, point of order.
I just want to give
According to
you.
Robert's Rules of Order, he has his
So
time.
let him-
Thank
his
you.
time.
I think that how, and I agree with Mr. Sypek with regard to what the state law provides, but you're trying to accomplish this through a resolution. It should not be done through a resolution that expires after a year. If we're going to change our code and amend it to clearly set forth that the governing body is the appointing authority, then that has to be done by an ordinance, not a resolution. I've never seen a resolution look like this. This new person, and the reason why it's in the budget is because I didn't know where you guys are gonna go, and we have to forecast the worst scenario. That's why it's in there. Whether there's a need for it is a whole different thing. But who supervises this person? Who disciplines this person? Who terminates this person? If it goes off the rails, not you, maybe generations in advance, what if somebody a majority, 3 people put their pal in there and it's just like a no-show position? How is there ever going to be a level of discipline or removal if it's not in the ordinance? And that's one of my concerns is that we're creating a municipal clerk's office that is more politicized than it should be, my personal opinion. But legally, this should not be a resolution. This should be an ordinance. If we're altering our code to expressly provide the governing body with the authority to appoint, it should be by ordinance, and that ordinance should provide enough detail to give us all guidance on who's supervising, who's disciplining, who's removing, how long the term is. This resolution doesn't come close to setting forth that.
Mr. Sargent, if you could address that for us, thank you.
Well, there is provision within the Lawrence Township Administrative Code that says there shall be a deputy municipal clerk. That is in there. Does it define all the areas that Mr. Nerwinski just spoke of? It does not. But in terms of clarifying this, it's up to council how to react. But there is, as I stated in my memorandum back, I believe in November, that our administrative code clearly has language, there shall be a deputy municipal clerk. This is not something new tonight. And whether or not there should be more clarity, we can certainly look at that. And I would certainly, for the benefit of council, look at this issue as to whether or not we should supersede with an ordinance. But my recollection of the research on it is that language does exist within the code for the position. And I understand what Mr. Winsky is talking about. So there may be an opportunity to refine this position, but it's something that does exist within our code right now. Whether or not at some point you want to have further revision and place in an ordinance, I can certainly look at that.
Mayor, can I ask?
So, and council is within their rights to.
Yeah, it's a council. I think based on my research and based on looking at many municipalities throughout the state, and specifically those under our form of government, majority do have council appoint. I will be perfectly candid that somehow the municipal manager, I think it was about 2/3, had the council appoint the deputy clerk. Now, what criteria there were, I didn't go into what criteria or anything like that.
Thank
It's
you.
not my purview.
Can I ask Mr. Sypek one follow-up question?
Absolutely.
So it sounds to me as if currently there's no clarity in the township code about who the appointing authority is. That just merely states in section B of the clerk that there shall be a deputy clerk, correct?
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm sorry, I don't have.
Yeah,
that.
I don't have it in front of me as well. So
There shall be a deputy clerk, and the statute that I refer to in the memorandum, which I can actually pull up, does indicate the authority of a township council to appoint.
But following up, in the past, the manager has made this appointment. So what is to prevent, and I'm not suggesting that he would do this, but what currently would prevent the township manager tomorrow from appointing a deputy municipal clerk and filling that title?
Well, there's really nothing in the code or by ordinance that allows that right now. I mean, I understand that.
And in my reading of the ordinance, as the township code as it stands now, there's no clarity as to the appointing body
Yes.
for
Well,
council.
there's-
We're reading the state statute.
The state statute would prevail.
Okay,
The state
that's-
statute always prevails. And my reading of it is that the state statute does clearly say the township council has that authority. Now, as to the particulars and the areas of concern, you're correct in that our code does not go into that.
Can I just,
Mayor, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Sypek.
Mayor, can I just read something on the record, just so we're clear on it? NJSA 40A 9-13, Deputy Municipal Clerk, the governing body of any municipality by ordinance may create the office of Deputy Municipal Clerk and provide for the appointments thereto, his compensation, term thereof, and the powers, duties, and functions of such office. Our ordinance does not provide for the governing body to make the appointment. In fact, and because of that, our code specifically says subordinates who are not appointed by the governing body are appointed by the municipal manager. This will be the first subordinate position ever created that was the governing body's appointment. And so I think if we're going to do that, well within your right, you have your 3 votes, it should absolutely be done by ordinance. And Mr. Sepic, I think you're going to agree with me. That a resolution is a lot less of authority than an ordinance. And if we have ambiguity in our current code as to who does it, because the manager was doing it by default because it was not expressly stated, I don't see why we should not just, because it looks like 3, there's a majority, why don't we just do it by ordinance and do it right?
We have a motion on the table, we're ready to vote.
No, I would like to speak.
You cannot speak, if you want to speak, you speak to the podium.
I will speak.
Okay, speak,
Why do I need to speak at the podium?
because this is related to the work that you do. And this is a personnel matter, and so if you want to speak, you speak from the podium.
I'll speak at the podium. And this is with all due respect.
Can you introduce yourself into the mic and your address?
I am the municipal clerk, Tom Carter of Lawrence Township.
And your address, where you live?
No, that's
No.
That's not,
No.
you don't have to do that. I would like to address this because this affects my office and has been going on for months and months and months. I disagree that, with this, the way I read the statute, it's just what it is. 40A 9-135, the governing body of any municipality by ordinance may create the office of a deputy municipal clerk and provide for appointments thereto, meaning to that office, his compensation, term thereof, and powers, duties, and function of such office. During the absence or ability of the municipal clerk and deputy municipal clerk shall have all the powers of municipal clerk and shall perform the functions of the duties of such office. Now, back in November, you had our attorney look over and do to determine who was the appointing authority. During that time, he did a survey of about 40 municipalities. And one thing that is very clear, and just about every last one of them, there shall be an office of the deputy clerk or clerks, the number of clerks. There shall be, and this is Evesham. I can go over and over and over every single one he's done that I have highlighted. There shall be this is Brigantine. There is hereby established the office of the deputy municipal clerk to be appointed. And every last one of them state who the appointing authority is. We can go to Byram, I think it is. The deputy clerk shall be appointed by the council. It has, every one of them creates the office. The reason it creates because the office of the municipal clerk and the position of the municipal clerk is 2 separate things. 2007, when I was appointed they did a ordinance number 1921-07, provided for the title and the salary for the position of deputy clerk. That's it. It didn't provide who was going to be the appointing authority, the term, or anything. In here, it provides for the office, meaning that you can say, hey, I am the term is this. I am the appointing authority, the township council, the township committee, or the township manager. That is clear in just about every last one of them. Not only that, when you create the office, you create more than one position, which B does, which allows some municipalities to have multiple clerks, multiple bishops of clerks, and to appoint one of those clerks as an acting clerk. So in my opinion, as of today, as it stands, Lawrence Township, and this is just my professional opinion, the township council, without doing it by ordinance, do not have the appointed authority. Now, do we need a deputy clerk? Because our says it shall, yes. I've been doing this almost 30 years. Does the deputy clerk should be certified? Absolutely. That's why the person in my office takes the courses, because we are in a time where they need to be certified because of all the legalese that they need to know. That's just about what I have to say. There is a few other items that I would like to address in that resolution with regards to me being the one to do the classification. This is a civil service town. I don't know all the rules and regulations and the rules of it. We have a manager's office, a personnel officer. She does the onboarding. She does all the posting. She does all the classification and resumes if it's pertaining to the county, just like the assessors we just did. All of that was done through the manager's office. The resume was sent to me. I notified the council and set up the interviews because of how the laws are set up with civil service. The third thing that I wanted to address is the fact that I think it's just very upsetting to me, and this whole matter has been upsetting to me, and unconscionable that any member of council would put forth a resolution that would disqualify and alienate somebody from the clerk's office, a staff from the clerk's office that could be impossibly well qualified. So that is what I have to say publicly, and that is my comment.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
The Lawrence Township Administrative Code is created by ordinance. That ordinance does state that there shall be a deputy municipal clerk. I understand the comments, certainly from the clerk and from the manager, but I will certainly, review this issue of whether or not that is sufficient within the ordinance of the administrative code and make a recommendation to council. But and I don't necessarily disagree from a legal standpoint, Mr. Nerwinski, as to the fact that an ordinance would have more weight than a resolution, but the resolution is an act of council that is legal. So it is a situation of interpretation and one that may need more clarity in the future, but it's up to council as to how you want to proceed.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you.
Art, several months ago, when this came up and it got dropped, because there was no second to it a month back. But prior to that, I told you I was against the ordinance the way it was written, the resolution. Okay. Because it was too open-ended. And I asked you to review it and tighten it up. Well, what's in front of us tonight is worse than what was in front of us a month ago. All I'm asking for is you do the study, come up with the answers, and present it to council so we could then move forward with a happy medium in here. All right? That's all I asked you that a couple months ago.
I understand that, and I remember that, and I was.
You've been busy.
No, it's not a question of being busy. It's not a question of being. I have been busy, but it's not a question of being busy. I was instructed by a council member to place the the resolution as was previously presented to council to the agenda. And I don't necessarily disagree that maybe we can review it and see if we want to supplement it by ordinance. But the act of council by resolution is legal, but I appreciate what you're saying in your comments.
Closing out all the comments, right, there are any additional, you can take a vote.
Mr. Bobbit,
No.
Mr. Kanaki,
No,
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, let's see, do we have to, we're now going into our closed session. No, okay. Oh, the DDI, I'm sorry.
Make the appointment.
If we can, yeah,
You recommend it.
we're gonna recommend an appointment for a new member on the DDI committee.
No, that was removed.
You
Completely.
You removed it from,
To make the appointment.
We're just making the
That's
appointment.
not what you said.
We removed it from the resolution just to make.
Does it need to be a resolution?
it's a committee appointment.
The resolution, when you make it, just so you know,
Mhm.
when you make the appointment, you could have, if you didn't want to make it that person, you could have just voted that one down, if that's not the person that you wanted to appoint. But that's that was I think
We removed it, so we're,
yeah.
All right, we'll
we
do
didn't
it.
like to make the,
We'll do it next time.
okay, we can wait on that. Oh, yeah. Now we can have, any council initiatives and liaison reports.
Nothing here.
I have a few, let's see. The Trails and Open Space Stewardship Committee met, we had a visitor, who made a presentation.
I'm sorry.
Her name was, Becky Taylor, who was the co-chair of Trenton Walks. And she was a former co-president of the Lawrence Hopewell Trail. She came to the, Trails and Open Space meeting and gave a lovely presentation and shared with us some of the work that's being done in Trenton that I thought was quite impressive. Also, the planning board met last Monday. The stakeholder meetings have been scheduled for through the end of February. There's actually one tonight going on right now. So that should be forthcoming with some additional information on the master plan. The Historical Preservation Committee also met last week, and we are currently working on a new brochure to share with the community on historical facts and some requirements that are needed when purchasing a historical home in Lawrenceville.
I have a question that Mr. Ryan's back after an absence, so welcome back. Back in the thick of things.
It's great being here with you.
Wonderful. As the liaison to Elsa, I had a question for you about the sewer ban and how that is progressing. If you could sort of give us an update.
Sure, the sewer ban is lifted. And we're doing well.
Any,
Applications are coming in already to hook up.
and is there gonna be, how did you get the sewer ban lifted? I'm trying to find out for the public to understand, are there gonna be changes at Elsa, right? Do you have to do things to deal with the nitrates?
That's been going on for a while, yeah, we're switching to nitrates on it.
Thanks.
Yep, we met the requirements and they lifted it to nitrates.
Wonderful.
Any other updates? Okay. Moving on to written communication, we did get a lovely thank you note. I think probably everyone has it in there now. I just want to share that Lawrence Township Council. Thank you for your beautiful garden bouquet in honor of my husband, Ken Johnson. Your thoughtful gesture means so much to me, and I deeply appreciate your support during this difficult time. Sincerely, Pat Johnson. Any other communication? Okay, if we can have a motion then for closed session. A closed session to discuss, a negotiation.
Just going into executive session.
Okay. Motion. Thank you all for coming out this evening. We appreciate your